Dark skin activist Rashida Strober here. And, I was sitting down thinking as I looked at some of the comments from people identifying themselves as light-skinned women on my channel. And I was trying to understand why is it that some, not all light-skinned women, will come to my channel and social media and attack me for speaking about my oppression, which I call darkism. Some would call it colorism, but I define it as darkism, as a dark-skinned woman. And so I began to think about, some of you are familiar with this, there's a concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. Okay. I'm the type of person, and I've always been this way, and that's the reason why dark skin activism exists. That's why I created it. I'm always in search of why. Why is it that human beings behave a certain way towards human beings? Maybe I should have majored in psychology. I didn't, but I will tell you, I did obtain my master's degree in political science and my bachelor's degree in history. And the reason why I chose history, because believe it or not, history has a psychological component to it. I'm no psychology expert or anything like that, but it's obvious to me, it's very clear to me that studying history, there's a psychological component to it. And the thing is, I wanted to understand, why do human beings operate towards human beings in political, economic, and social ways? And for me, history answers that question because it's real. It's what people did. You study the transatlantic slave trade, and you study colonialism, and you study even going back to European history. You study the potato famine, all the different wars that took place in Europe, the Russian Revolution. You study stuff like the French Revolution, the Iranian Revolution. We'll be here all day. You begin to understand why. What is the driving force? What's the driving force? And so I'm using that brain to try to understand, why do some, not all, some light-skinned women, why have they come to my channel for years to attack me? I want to know why. I want to understand why. So I've been struggling with this because I want, you know how the brain is. You want to satisfy your brain with an explanation. You're trying to understand why. That's just me. And I think that's human nature in general. We want to understand why. Okay. So that's where all this is stemming from. Most recently, I saw a comment from this person. This person has been commenting on my channel and in my chat for a minute, identified herself as a light-skinned woman, and has been attacking me. I've done nothing to you. The only thing I've ever done is come on to social media with my dark skin activism that I started in '98 and told the truth. And for that, I have been constantly attacked. And like I said, I had to figure out the why. And cognitive dissonance is one reason among many. There's others. But that's the thing that I most thought about. Before I continue, for those of you that don't know, my name is Rashida Strober. I am the world's first and only dark-skinned activist. Why do I say that? It's because I created the brand, the phrase dark-skinned activist, dark-skinned activism, which is the first movement in history to ever advocate and fight to end colorism and what I call darkism. I started this movement in 1998, before there was social media, before anybody talked about dark skin discrimination as a movement. The only other person I could give credit to, I've stated this over and over again, I'll continue to state it to the day I die, is Cola Booth. She's the only reputable person that engaged in advocacy before there was social media. Dark skin activism consists of me writing plays, books, and doing darkism talks, obviously about only dark skin. I created this entire platform and discussion. And before there was social media, I just simply wrote my books and traveled around to different venues that would have me and perform my play, which I wrote back in 2006, again, before anybody started talking about dark skin experiences. It's called A Dark Skinned Woman's Revenge. It's a one-woman play where I play multiple characters. People have seen it. The most recent performance was back in Atlanta, which was a pay-per-view live stream I implemented in last year. My books include Darkism, 25 Ways Dark-Skinned People Are Discriminated Against, How to Be the Hottest Dark-Skinned Chick on the Planet, which is the first motivational book for dark-skinned females. Token Dark Girl, the It Dark Girl of the Moment, which is the first book to analyze dark-skinned women in their tokenism in popular culture. And my book, of course, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge. I have a book version of A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge and a play version of A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge. You can go to my website, darkiskinactivist.com, and download a free ebook copy of Darkism. Once again, the website is darkiskinactivist.com. My books are also on Amazon, but I like to tell people, hey, if you want to get it directly from me and support my work financially, Cash App, PayPal, and GoFundMe's. $40 or more gets you an autographed copy of one of my dark skin books. But you can always go to the website, darkiskinactivist.com, and get the free ebook download of Darkism. So my Cash App is $rashidalala. Once again, $rashidalala. My PayPal is icecreamladydream@yahoo.com. icecreamladydream@yahoo.com. And my GoFundMe is simple. You can find it by Googling Rashida Strober GoFundMe, or you can find my Cash App, my PayPal, and my GoFundMe by looking at any video on my YouTube channel, and you'll see all that information in the comment section or in the description. Or the other option is going to my website, darkskinactivist.com, darkskinactivist.com. So in 2010, when social media started popping, I brought my brand, never done before, dark skin activism, brought it to the internet. Took a couple of years for it to pop off. It was I created the first Colorism dark skin channel on YouTube. Around 2015, I went viral for calling out Kendrick Lamar's darkism. And Black people were like, what in the world is she talking about? And then what happened in the aftermath, entities like Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club made me donkey of the day for calling out the darkism. And everybody was like, what is a dark skin activist? But a funny thing happened after that. I began to be plagiarized and copied all over YouTube. So any channels that you currently see speaking about dark skin and colorism, it all started with me. People will never there's some that do give me the credit because they're honest. They're ethical. So there's a small group of honest, ethical people that actually do tell the truth and give credit to myself, the person that created this entire platform of anyone online speaking about colorism and dark skin discrimination. So I have to say there's a few, and I appreciate that. But most people have plagiarized my work and they've never said thank you. They never give acknowledgement. They never have paid me any money, any of that. They just ripped off and stole my work. So that's the story of the dark skin activist. Also, I want to let you know that I am currently working on a book called Inventing Dark Skin Activism, the Rashida Strober Story. Once again, Inventing Dark Skin Activism, the Rashida Strober Story. And that book is going to detail how I went from creating a platform to talk about dark skin, that dark skinned women and Black people didn't realize that there was something to talk about there, and bringing it online and, writing all these books, the plays, doing the darkism tours, and then bringing it online, having people say I was crazy, and then having all these people steal and plagiarize my work. So I'm working on that book right now. That's the story, because we all are going to leave this earth one day. And when I leave this earth, I want people to know the truth about how I was done wrong and ripped off and stood up for something that Black people, dark-skinned women, brown-skinned women, they didn't see as important and viable. But then when I brought it to the fore, I took the hits for it, the death threats, etc., and then they plagiarized and stole and copied. And that is the story. So that introduction right there, let me get back to the cognitive dissonance of light-skinned, some light-skinned women. I'm not going to, I'm going to keep my argument solid here by not, got to be careful about the words you use. I'm not going to say all. I said some. I said some. I'm not gonna say all. I've listened to my wording. All, some words are very important. Okay, because I like to be accurate and honest and truthful. That's the way I roll. So yeah, getting back to this, I came to the conclusion, because I was searching for an answer. Why do some of these light-skinned women continue to attack me? Why? And I came to the conclusion. Now I'm gonna do some more thinking on this. I'm always thinking about darkism, trying to understand, trying to find resolutions. But I came to one conclusion. There's more. That one reason is cognitive dissonance. That's a psychological term. And because I'm a very honest person, I don't plagiarize and steal from people. I came from an academic background where you can't do that. My degree is a master's degree in political science from the University of South Florida. And, University of South Florida is an accredited school. You're not going to get through any type of degree program if you plagiarize. So, we gotta be honest. So one person that I know of that's associated with establishing theories, and y'all can go look this person up. I just like to give credit to people that establish disciplines to where it's at. It reaches a certain point, and then people tend to forget, hey, this person is the one that put in the work. I believe there's a book called A Theory of Cognitive Dissonance. Okay, it was like in the 1950s or something like that. I cannot remember the person's name, but I'm giving this person credit. If you want to know more about this, where this whole cognitive dissonance thing came from, just go do a little bit of research into A Theory of Cognitive Dissonance. That's what it's called. It's a publication that was published back in the 1950s, the late 1950s. Okay, so I'm giving respect and honor to this theory, because I like it when people put things that people feel and sense in a nice, neat theory. We need theories. That's the reason why I created the word darkism, because I wanted to create a nice, neat theoretical framework so that people that have experienced darkism, they can say, this is what this is. And evidence of that is I've gotten people over the years that have read my book. I never forget a dark-skinned brother when I did my darkism tour back in Fort Worth, Texas. He drove all the way from another city in Texas. And he said to me, he works in corporate America. And he said, I take your book with me to work and I read it because it has helped me to understand that what I've experienced is real. And that's the power of creating a theoretical framework, darkism. And I learned and understood. I said, the white boys, the white men, y'all aren't the only one that can create theories and paradigms. I could do it too. I learned that when I was a graduate student in political science at the University of South Florida, just thinking about this dark skin stuff. So the colorism scholarly literature, as I respect it, don't ever get it twisted. I have so much respect for the scholars, not these people that are frauds on YouTube stealing and taking from people. I'm talking about, I respect scholars. I came from a scholarly background. I just told you my master's is in political science. I respect scholarship. I don't respect frauds on YouTube. So, but the thing is, and one thing you learn, if you are a grad student in a reputable accredited university in any PhD program or master's degree program, what you have to do is you have to find gaps in the scholarship. When you study, you find gaps. So the thing with the colorism scholarly literature is that it didn't have a a distinct focus on the unique experiences that dark-skinned people face. So that is the reason why I came up with darkism, because darkism means, and yes, I'm taking my credit because people steal from me constantly. Just recently, Exoticals United stole my entire voice and put it on their channel, garnered 8,000 views. People been doing this for years. So that's why I always stress what I created, because I know people gonna listen to this, and I'm gonna continue to let it be known this is what I created. Darkism is a word that I created out of my brain and my creativity, and out of a desire to want to create a theoretical framework that's now practical. Because I just told you what the dark-skinned brother told me. That's practical. There's theory and then there's practical. That brother told me, look, I read your book and now I know that I can put a name to what I'm experiencing, which is darkism. Okay? And so the gap in the literature, again, with colorism was in the research, we said, you're not focusing on what dark-skinned people face. So that's where darkism comes from. In my book, Darkism, 25 Ways Dark-Skinned People Are Discriminated Against, is my anger and my desire all in one to describe my experience and the experience of dark-skinned people. So when you read that book, I'm giving you, yes, there's a theory of darkism, which there's another book that I actually started working on. It's called Theory of Darkism, not finished. But darkism is ready and published with concrete examples and evidence, because that is what I deal with of darkism. Okay, so once again, you can go to my website, darkism.com. Once again, darkism.com, and you can download a free ebook copy. While you're there, make sure you make a donation. Cash App is $rashidalala. So in regards to understanding why some light-skinned women come from me and they're angry with me, I looked at and considered one reason, which is cognitive dissonance. Okay. And it's basically, what does cognitive dissonance mean? It's basically contradictory inconsistency. Okay. In the way that a person thinks and feels. Okay. And you guys could go, we need to start doing research and stop just listening to what these people are saying on YouTube. You're not going to substitute academic research for YouTube videos. It's not going to happen. This is supplement. So y'all go do y'all research. You don't got to believe me. Go do your research on what cognitive dissonance is. But it's basically when you have two competing or inconsistent thoughts or beliefs. And that's why I said, let me break this down, how it relates to light-skinned women's view of me as the dark-skinned activism, fighting against colorism and darkism. Well, there's light-skinned women that know here's the inconsistency. Here's the competing thoughts. Here's the contradictions. You have two ideas that are inconsistent. So before let me do this so that you really understand what I'm saying, for those of you that don't understand what cognitive dissonance is. Let me give you an example. Let's say you believe that you are a good person, but you go out and rob a bank. That is an example of cognitive dissonance. Let me give you another example. You may know that certain foods are bad for you, but you eat those foods anyway. Cognitive dissonance. So some of these light-skinned women, the ones that I'm referring to that are coming for me, they know and acknowledge that dark-skinned women suffer darkism, yet are angry at me and attack me for speaking about it. And as a result, state things like you're jealous or you're hateful. Attack there's a concept in logical reason, the ad hominem, where you're attacking the person instead of the idea. And that's what, listen, that happens to me over and over again. You attack me instead of attacking my ideas. So, but back to cognitive dissonance. These light-skinned women, they know, they can clearly, they even admit it. Dark-skinned women do suffer darkism. Yet, they come and attack me in my social media. I've even been threatened with death. I've been told, again, I was jealous. All kinds of hateful things are said to me. So you have that inconsistency, the contradiction. If you know that this is happening, why do you continue to attack me for trying to eliminate it by speaking out about it? You understand? And another component of cognitive dissonance is, and this is what is driving this, is you are uncomfortable. Some of you don't like when I come online and I talk about different experiences of darkism. You don't like it. It makes you uncomfortable. So that drives the dissonance. That drives your cognitive dissonance, because even though you hear my story, you hear, you know it's the truth, you don't care. Because it makes you uncomfortable. You still go on the attack. And so what I'm trying to do here is to provide some type of, what I would like to do eventually is have a resolution, a reckoning, because that's a part of it. You got to resolve this. We have to resolve the dissonance. It can't be two competing ideals. You can't say on the one hand, yeah, I feel bad for you. You're a victim of darkism, but not resolve it. And then you turn around and you go and attack me, and you're angry when I start talking about my experience. That's also a form of victimization. You are victimizing me. Let me tell y'all something. I haven't done anything to these people. I don't even know them. Only thing I do is get on my channel and talk my talk. I write my books. I do my darkism talks when I can. And that's it. That's what I do. I don't attack people. I don't threaten people. I don't do malicious things to people, but I can tell you, as a result of the cognitive dissonance of some of these people, all of these things that I have just named that I don't do to people has happened to me. And so the issue is, how can this cognitive dissonance that is going on with some of these light-skinned women be resolved? That's the issue. That's the real question. How can there be a reckoning? What's the resolution? And that's my challenge to some of you, because I don't have all the answers. I never stated that I did. Okay? So to those light-skinned women who are experiencing cognitive dissonance as it relates to the dark-skinned activists speaking against and fighting against darkism and colorism, my challenge to you is, how do you resolve your cognitive dissonance? So, for example, the person that proclaims they're a good person, but they go out and steal. Well, the resolution is, okay, you're a good person, don't steal. Okay? So if you believe and you know that it is factual that dark-skinned women are discriminated against, and Rashida Strober, the dark-skinned activist, is not making this up, what is your resolution? I'm gonna let you fill in the gap. I hope that person that comes on all my videos, I hope you give the same energy to answering this question, because it's a challenge. I'm challenging you to come up with a resolution. That's my challenge to you, some of you light-skinned women who are experiencing cognitive dissonance as it relates to darkism and colorism. That's it, y'all. That's pretty much what I had to say because that was on my heart and my mind and my soul. Make sure you go to my Cash App and make a donation. The Cash App is $rashidalala. Once again, it's $rashidalala. The PayPal is icecreamladydream@yahoo.com. Once again, icecreamladydream@yahoo.com. And you can go to my GoFundMe simply by Googling Rashida Strober GoFundMe. Once again, just Google Rashida Strober GoFundMe and they'll come up. You can find my Cash App, my PayPal, and my GoFundMe on any video on my channel in the comment section or the description. Just look in the comment or the description. Or you can go to my website, darkskinactivist.com. Once again, darkskinactivist.com. Support financially. And make sure you like the video. Make sure you share the video because some light-skinned woman out there needs to hear this today. Thank you for listening. Rashida Strober, the world's first and only dark-skinned activist.